Welcome to Old Coins Explorer. Here we are exploring the hidden secrets about old and rare coins. Must watch till the end to know the real value of these rare coins. Imagine holding a coin so common that millions walk right past it every day. Yet the very same coin could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. That's no fantasy. This is the reality behind the 1980 Washington quarter dollar. A coin you may have overlooked could be a secret treasure hiding in your loose change. Buckle up, because what you're about to discover could change how you see money forever. You see, in 1980, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Washington quarters. Sounds ordinary, right? But among the sea of shiny copper-nickel discs are a handful of quarters that are anything but ordinary. They're valuable, rare, and in some cases, straight-up mysterious. Whether you're a curious collector or just someone hoping to strike gold in a coin jar, the 1980 quarter is the unsung hero you never knew had such potential. Let's start with the basics. The design. On the obverse, you have a familiar profile of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan. Clean, presidential, iconic, and the reverse, the commanding eagle, wings spread, clutching a bundle of arrows. The classic image most Americans instantly recognize. But the magic isn't just in the art, it's in the minting. In 1980, Washington quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. And that's where things start getting interesting. Quarters from Philadelphia bear no mint mark, while Denver coins feature a D, and San Francisco struck only proof coins bearing an S. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 635 million of these coins. So you think they're all worthless beyond face value, right? Not so fast. There are error coins in this batch that fetch up to $2,000 or more. Yes, even from the Philly Mint. The secret? Errors and conditions. For instance, if you find a 1980 quarter with missing clad layers, that's a big deal. These coins appear more coppery, almost as if they're made of bronze. One such example sold for $1,495 because the entire obverse side was missing its nickel coating. Imagine how easily that could pass through your fingers. Or let's talk about the double die errors. Coins that appear slightly doubled, especially in the lettering or date. These aren't just mistakes. They're collector's gold. One sharply struck double die obverse 1980. D quarter sold for nearly $2,500 in an auction. Now here's something even juicier. The San Francisco proof quarters. Only around 3.5 million were made. These weren't meant for circulation at all. They were made for collectors, polished dies, mirror-like fields. And here's the kicker. Some of these proof coins were accidentally released into circulation. If you come across a 1980 S quarter in your pocket change, it might just be worth $100 to $400, or even more depending on condition. And condition? Oh, it matters a lot. In the coin world, condition is everything. A 1980 D quarter in perfect MS-67 condition, no scratches, full strike, vibrant luster, once fetched over $1,300 at auction. That's a $1,000 payoff for a coin you can find in your couch cushions, if luck's on your side. But wait, there's a darker, rarer tale. Some 1980 quarters have been discovered with struck through grease errors, where part of the design is obscured due to grease on the die. These quirky mistakes are beloved by collectors. Prices vary wildly, but some of these unique misprints have fetched hundreds of dollars simply due to their freak-of-nature uniqueness. Then there's the allure of off-center strikes, where the coin's design is misaligned. These aren't just curiosities, they're jackpot finds. Depending on how dramatic the misalignment is, some 1980 quarters have sold for $700 to over $1,000. Combine that with the right mint mark in good condition, you're in serious treasure territory. Let's not forget full strike features like full talons or full feathers on the eagle. When collectors find these crisp, complete details, especially on high-grade quarters, they pay big. One such 1980 D quarter with pristine feather detail reached $800 at auction. So where do you look? Anywhere. Coin jars, drawers, your car's cup holder. Ask your grandparents. Raid the piggy bank. Because these coins are still circulating. You don't need to dig through a mine. You just need a sharp eye and maybe a little luck. But here's the twist. Counterfeiters know about the value of these coins. That means authentication is important. If you believe you found something special, get it graded. Certified coins not only sell for more, they're respected more in the market. And if you do find a valuable 1980 quarter, you're not just holding currency. You're holding a piece of American history, a story of minting anomalies, economic shifts, and a hidden economy hiding in plain sight. So the next time you hear that satisfying clink of coins in your pocket, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, because that plain old quarter, it might just be your lucky break. And here's the real kicker. We've only just scratched the surface. There are coins out there far older, far rarer, and far more valuable. So get ready, because in our next part, we're diving into a mysterious quarter from a year that predates the Washington series entirely. That's right, a coin from 1871 that might just blow your mind. Stay curious and check your change. Next up, we travel back in time to an era before the Washington quarter ever existed. The year is 1871, a time of steam trains, telegrams, and the aftermath of the Civil War. But buried within that era of transformation is a small, silver coin, the 1871 Liberty-seated quarter, that today could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. You may not find this one in your couch cushions, but if you ever come across it, you might just be holding a piece of history more valuable than gold. The Liberty-seated quarter isn't just old. It's rare, and it carries with it the soul of 19th century America, minted between 1838 and 1891. These quarters feature a striking image of Lady Liberty seated on a rock, holding a shield in one hand and a liberty pole topped with a cap in the other. She's not just a symbol. She's a message, a call for freedom, strength, and resolve in a turbulent chapter of American history. Now, let's zone in on 1871. Quarters from this year were struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; San Francisco, S mint mark; and Carson City, CC mint mark. Each one tells a different story, and each one can make your coin collection shine brighter than ever. Start with the Philadelphia issue. Over 1.2 million were minted. While not incredibly rare and low grades, when this coin is found in uncirculated condition, that's where the value skyrockets. A pristine mint state 1871 quarter from Philadelphia once sold for over $4,000. And if it has proof-like surfaces or deep cameo contrast, collectors will battle fiercely to own it. But let's level up. The 1871S, struck in San Francisco, had a smaller mintage, just over 800,000. These were workhorse coins used heavily out west, so most surviving examples are worn down. Finding one in fine or very fine condition is hard enough. But if you uncover one in mint state, even MS-60 or higher, get ready. That could fetch anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000, depending on strike quality and luster. Still not impressed? Hold on to your chair, because the real treasure lies with the 1871 CC, the Carson City Mint. Only 10,890 of these quarters were ever made. Yes, you read that right. Less than 11,000. Most were lost, melted, or worn to oblivion. Surviving specimens? They're unicorns. An 1871 CC quarter, in even good for condition, the lowest grade, is often valued at $1,500 to $2,500. If you manage to find one in fine or very fine, the price can reach $8,000 to $12,000. And higher grades? Hold your breath, because a mint state 1871 CC quarter has sold for over $40,000 at auction. That's not just a coin. That's a life-changing artifact. So what makes this specific quarter so valuable? It's not just the age. It's the scarcity, historical importance, and collector demand. Carson City Mint coins are especially treasured. Located in Nevada, the Carson City Mint produce coins in relatively low numbers, and anything with a CC Mint mark gets immediate attention from collectors around the world. Now let's talk condition and grading. The Liberty-seated series is known for weak strikes and inconsistent quality. That makes fully detailed specimens even rarer. Features to look for? Sharp details on Liberty's gown, well-struck stars, and clear denticles, those tiny tooth-like ridges around the edge. Coins with full detail and no cleaning or damage can multiply in value dramatically. And if you find a coin with toning, that rainbow-like discoloration that happens naturally over time, don't dismiss it. Toning, when attractive and original, can add a significant premium. Collectors adore naturally toned coins, especially those with blues, purples, and golds. Let's not ignore errors either. While errors on 1871 quarters are exceptionally rare, there have been reports of clipped planchets, where a piece of coin's edge is missing or strike through debris, where something interfered with the die during minting. These error coins, depending on the visibility and condition, can add hundreds or even thousands of dollars to an already valuable coin. Another high-value tip: watch for proof coins. Though not officially listed, a small number of proof strikes were created for collectors in 1871. These are mirror-finished, sharply struck coins made with extra care. If you ever come across one, authenticated by a top grading company, you're staring at a potential $15,000 to $25,000 item. And yes, counterfeits exist, especially for rare coins like the 1871 CC. If you come across one, always consult a professional or get it graded by reputable companies like PCGS or NGC. A certified coin not only ensures authenticity, but also maximizes value when it's time to sell. So where could you find such a treasure? Estate sales, antique shops, coin dealers, online auctions, and sometimes, just sometimes, people find these coins in old family collections or forgotten stashes in attics or basements. One man discovered an 1871 S. Liberty seated quarter tucked away in a cigar box handed down from his great-grandfather. That coin later sold for $6,200. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating mystery of a coin you probably held in your hand dozens of times without ever realizing its hidden value. We're talking about the 1970 Washington quarter, a coin that looks totally ordinary, but under the right conditions, could be worth over $35,000. That's right. A small, pocket change coin from the 1970s has stunned collectors with its wild market value. If you're not looking closely, you could miss a literal fortune sitting in your change jar. The 1970 Washington quarter is no longer just a humble piece of currency. Thanks to minting quirks, rare errors, and collector demand, it is transformed into a high-stakes treasure hunt. There's more than one version of this coin, but the one that shook the numismatic world was a specific error coin struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter planchet. This tiny mistake turned into a jackpot for the lucky person who discovered it. It sold at auction for $35,000. Let's break it down. In 1970, the U.S. Mint accidentally struck some quarters on planchets, coin blanks, that weren't meant for them, including a leftover 1941 Canadian silver quarter blank. That means a 1970 Washington quarter looks normal at a glance, but weighs less than it should, has slightly different dimensions, and when closely examined, even shows traces of the original Canadian coin underneath the new design. This error is so rare that only one or two known examples exist. It's basically the holy grail of modern coin errors. But that's not the only reason the 1970 quarter has become such a hot topic. Some regular 1970 Washington quarters, especially those from the San Francisco Mint with the S Mint mark, are also worth serious money. The 1970 S-proof quarter, for example, was only made for collectors and not released into general circulation. These quarters were struck with specially polished dies and finished with mirror-like surfaces. High-grade examples with a deep cameo finish can sell for $30 to $500, depending on condition and demand. But we're not just talking about proof coins or basic uncirculated condition. We're talking about errors, varieties, and misstrikes that send coin values into the stratosphere. One of the most exciting varieties is the 1970 S-proof quarter double die obverse. This means that during the minting process, the die that strikes the front of the coin shifted just slightly, creating a doubled image. If you spot one of these with strong doubling on the word Liberty or the date 1970, you could be looking at a coin worth over $1,000 to $2,500, or even more, depending on the sharpness of the doubling and the coin's overall condition. Now let's go back to that jaw-dropping $35,000 quarter, the one struck on a Canadian silver quarter. How did it happen? In the minting world, mistakes can be rare but they're not impossible. Sometimes older planchets from other nations or earlier years get stuck in the machines and accidentally get reused. In this case, a blank from a 1941 Canadian quarter, which is slightly smaller and made of 80% silver, ended up getting struck with the U.S. quarter design in 1970. This error can only be detected by weighing the coin, examining its edge, and looking for leftover marks from a Canadian design. These mule errors, when a coin is struck with mismatched or unintended dies or planchets, are extremely rare and highly desirable. Collectors are willing to pay huge sums for these kinds of mistakes because they represent a moment frozen in time, a once-in-a-million error that slipped past government quality control and made it into circulation. But what if you just have a regular 1970 quarter? Is it worth anything? Absolutely. Even non-error 1970 quarters in mint condition, MS-65 or higher, can bring in $10 to $40 depending on market trends. That might not sound like a lot, but considering its face value is 25 cents, that's a 400% to 1,600% increase. And if you find one in a proof-like or cameo finish, the value rises fast. Keep in mind that condition is everything. A standard 1970 quarter pulled from circulation may only fetch $1 or $2, but one stored in pristine condition, untouched by hand or time, can command high prices. PCGS and NGC graded coins, the top two grading companies, always bring in more value, especially when sealed in tamper-proof slabs that confirm grade and authenticity. The most sought-after features include no scratches or wear, full luster, that original mint shine, strong strike with full details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, deep cameo contrast on proof coins, visible errors or doubling, and don't forget to check the mint mark. The 1970S San Francisco Mint is far more valuable in most cases than the 1970 from Philadelphia or Denver. Proof errors especially came from San Francisco that year. Also, here's something few collectors know. Many proof sets from 1970 are still unopened in old family drawers and estate boxes. You can buy sealed 1970 proof sets online, sometimes for just $10 to $20. Who knows? You might crack one open and discover a double die or high-grade cameo quarter inside, instantly turning a $20 purchase into a $500 plus payday. Another thing that adds buzz to the 1970 quarter: silver confusion. People often ask, is the 1970 quarter silver? The answer is no, not normally. Regular 1970 quarters are made of copper-nickel clad, not silver. However, because of the error involving the 1941 Canadian silver planchet, there's at least one 1970 quarter that is made of silver, and that's what makes it so special and insanely valuable. So whether you're sorting your collection or checking your old pocket stash, always give your 1970 quarters a second look. Who knows? One of them might just be the key to a small fortune. And that wraps our thrilling journey through 3 powerful coins, each with its own story, its own surprises, and its own chance to reward a lucky collector. Whether it's the 1980 modern marvel, the historic 1871 rarity, or the mind-blowing 1970 mystery, the world of quarters is packed with more value than most people ever imagine. Keep your eyes open, your hands ready, and your curiosity alive, because in the world of coins, the next big find could be one quarter away.